Okay, hello. This tutorial is focusing on light. So let me hop on over to wait, there's a light folder right there. I don't have to search it. Okay, so all of these lights right here are very useful to, well, light up your levels. They can also create a lot of different vibes that you might want to have, but let's just focus on what they do. So first, let's spawn in not flicker light. Yeah, the normal light. Alright, so I need to point out first that light is not a glow. You're not going to see this light anywhere unless it has something for the light to bounce off of. It doesn't like glow in place. If there's nothing around this light, it would be like it doesn't even exist. But as long as the light has something to shine on, then you'll see where that light is. It's very good to have these around if you just have a spot in a level that's just way too dark, or you just like having street lights. You could have some objects surround where you put a light object, and that creates a light source for that light, and then it kind of looks like you made a custom lamp. However you use your light object is however you use it. I don't know where I was going with that sentence, but here are the properties for it. You can change the light to whatever color you want, and also you can change its intensity and range. Now range is pretty obvious, is how far it can reach in terms of distance, but intensity is more how literally intense your light is. The higher this number, the more bright that light's gonna be. You probably wouldn't really use it anything past 2, or like even, I don't know. I usually haven't seen anybody make a light that bright because, well, it's blinding and it can ruin a lot of things. But you might want to make the intensity higher if you need your light to cover a lot of range, and you just need it to just cover more space in terms of like how far it can really go. Because if I make this 1000, this light reaches really far, but over here you can't really see the light as much. So if I set it to 2, you can see it a lot more now. Oh yeah, and also be aware of how the light works in bloom. If you're like me and you have bloom turned off, it might look a lot different depending on whether or not you have it on or off. Although the editor by default always has bloom on, you can toggle that right up here. You can toggle whether or not bloom is on or off. I'm gonna leave it on because most people have bloom default on. Okay, and the other light objects, flicker lights, is pretty self-explanatory. The lights flickers on and off. It's good if you want to have the look of a like an infected sector where all the lights are kind of flickering on and off. There's also a spotlight, so you could have the lights only appear at an angle instead of, well, all-encompassing. It can just only exist in this angle as well. And there are also several different objects that produce their own light. Like this one, for example, has 3 lights attached to it to produce its own light. There's also lamps that do the same exact thing, which these can be attached to the road, and they also have their own light. That's a flicker lamp. I don't want that. There we go. Which, yeah, these are ones that you can attach to the track, which if you haven't messed with that before, I'm going to show you a little bit right now. But yeah, you can attach lamps to the track and move them about with this pink arrow, and they produce their own light. Well, specifically these are spotlights. Also, another thing to note that I never really went too far into this when I was explaining property color values before, but spec color or specular color is, think of it as the color that it reflects light. Actually, I shouldn't say reflects light, but how it treats the light's color. And you know what, I'll just show it. I have no idea how to explain this in words. But if I were to make, that's not the road. Which one is the road? That's not the road. That's not the road either. Which one's the road? Oh, there it is. Okay, so see how the light, where the light is shining, is changing color? The specular color changes the light's colors on, like, when it's shining on an object. So this one is kind of orangey, kind of like a reddish orange sort of color. Yeah. And the light is just completely white, so it's just changing to that color. But if the light was instead, like, I don't know, yellow, it would look a little different, but not quite completely the color that I'm on. Actually, it's pretty blue. Point is, it blends with the specular color. So if you want to make some kind of fancy looking color with some lights, you can do that too. And that's really all I have to point out with lights. That's pretty much it. Fairly simple. I would have you watch me plant all of these lamps down on this road, but I don't feel like it. So that's all I'm really going to talk about. Have fun messing with lights.